Since the beginning of the war, a lot of people got a lot of chizuk. They're coming back in teshuvah. Of course, it's normal. They ask themselves questions. For those who go to war, they seek protection. So you see people wearing tzitzit. Today somebody called me about the tefillin campaign. He said, we stopped the campaign because everybody has tefillin. That's it. No more need for tefillin. It's unbelievable. There was really a reawakening of the whole Klal Israel, both inside of Israel and outside of Israel. Actually, I heard this week a politician, her name is Galit Distel, who is a Knesset member, and she said something very, very powerful. She talks about the chinuch, the educational system that they have in Israel, of the public system. In the public system, as you probably know, it's not based on Yahadut, on religion, and they withhold all the information that would have anything to do with religion. Very secular. She was really very, very upset about this. She said that she discovered religion much, much later in life. And religion is not only wearing tefillin and wearing tzitzit and shaking a lulav and keeping Shabbat this way or that way, meaning the halachic aspect of life, the technical aspect of the halachot, the observance of the Torah. Of course, it's extremely important. But she said there's something else in there that answers so many questions that everybody has. From the most irreligious to the most religious person, they would have questions on the essence of life, on the depth of life, on the why are we here, the purpose of life, on happiness, on so many topics that everyone needs from all backgrounds. That why was that withheld from her? Why is that withheld from people in general that perhaps throughout life they'll discover later, perhaps not? Why can't we have an Israeli culture that is based on Yahadut, that is based on religion, on the beauty of religion, on the depth of religion, on what she calls the Yahalom, on the diamond that is completely covered and not given as an opportunity to be discovered by all? That would give so much more strength to people, so much more values to have in part of the culture, of the national culture. Would you imagine part of the curriculum to have some basics of beauty of Torah? She speaks about the Gemara as being such a smart way of learning. Why are we withholding that from all of society? She goes on and on. It's a very interesting video. It's only 5 minutes. And I was listening to this video with my wife, and she looked at me and she said, she of course is talking about a select, aspect of population, of Israeli population, but really talks to everyone. She said, are we any better? So what are you talking about? We're religious. We do Torah from the beginning. Yeah. But the essence of what she's saying is that try to separate a little bit the depth of the Torah with the halacha, which means you could have an aspect of life that connects you to the divine, and then you have, of course, the halacha that comes with it. So these people, these very irreligious people, they don't do any halacha, and she was lamenting, why don't they at least teach them the philosophical part, the ideological part of the Torah? And my wife said, but maybe with the same, but the opposite. We're so worried about all the technicalities of halacha and muktzeh and kashrut and how we do certain things, which we should, and we do it well, that we totally disconnect and disassociate ourselves many times from the philosophical part, from the hashkafa of the Torah, from the depth of the connection between the beauty of the spirituality and ourselves. How many times on Shabbat we just do the halachot, we just do what we got to do because we got to do it. We don't connect with the depth and the why and the connection and the spirituality and the recharging of the spiritual batteries for the week. Who comes out of Shabbat so inspired? Because we're so worried about the technicalities. What about that? Are we also failing on this area? This week's parasha, I discovered something extraordinary in a pirush called the Torah Tmima. On the famous pasuk when HaKadosh Baruch Hu commands Bnei Israel to build the Beit HaMikdash, and he says, as a result of that, I will dwell not in it, but in you, as it says, it says the Torah Tmima. Let me read to you a piece that is extraordinary. He says the following, באמת אין שייך כלל, עניין בניין בכלל כביכול לקדוש ברוך הוא. Why would God need an edifice, a house, a בית המקדש, a משכן? It has no connection with God. And he quotes a pasuk, כמו שכתוב, השמיים כסאי והארץ אדום רגלי, איזה בית אשר תבנו לי ואיזה מקום מנוחתי. The pasuk in Yeshaya is a little bit making fun a little bit of the whole thing. He's saying, God is saying, the heaven is my chair. Who needs a house? איזה בית אשר תבנו לי. What kind of a house can you build for me when all of the universe is my chair? Of course, it's a metaphor where God is saying, I don't need an edifice. I don't need a building. Says the Torah תמימה, אלא העניין שרצה הקדוש ברוך הוא שהתעסקו ישראל במלאכת עבודה לשמו. Hashem wanted Bnei Israel to have work, to do something, to toil, to have a purpose in what they're doing, לשמו, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to make a connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. וציוום על בניין המקדש. So he commanded them, for a multitude of reasons, to do an edifice for the בית המקדש. ומתוך שתהיה חביבה עליו עבודת פעולתם, and because he cherishes and values the effort that they did, with the Shemo, with the Shem Hashem, that they wanted to do it for Hashem, not for the edifice, for the connection with Hashem. ישרה שכינתו בתוכם בכל מקום שהם. He's going to put his presence wherever they are. It's like saying, there is no more Kedusha in the Mishkan. The Kedusha is going to be in the heart of each person because they built a Mishkan. But so when they go to the Mishkan, there is the Shekhinah because of them. Because what they did, because they did it for Hashem. That's why. It's not the action itself. It's the connection that you make, because the proof is, the result is God says, I'm not there. I'm where you are. I'm not where you built it. What do you mean, God, I built it for you? I don't need it, he says. I need you. Rahmana li babaya. Hashem wants the heart. We have to learn how to put heart in what we do. To be sincere, to be honest, to have depth and spirituality in our actions. What she said is not just for the Chilonim. It's also for the Datim and the Haridim. It's for everybody. Let's take all these actions that we do, all this observance that we do, but never disconnect it from the divine, from the spirituality that is behind that action. Because Hashem tells you, I'm not going to be in your action. I'm going to be in you as a result of your action. But you have to establish that connection. I just want to end with something. We know this week, thank God, 2 people were found by special forces in Gaza and were taken out from the captivity. We had the merit to have their family members who were in our shul 2 weeks ago. And they didn't stop, and they were mitchazek, and they really made a connection. But something else happened also. We know that these 2 individuals were Argentinian Jews. And just a day or 2 before, the Argentinian president was in the Kotel. He was in Israel. And for those who didn't see that video, I'm sure everybody did, of this non-Jew who is very close to the Jewish people, the way he was praying, the way he was connecting, the way he was crying in front of thousands of people, all the videos of the world, but he didn't care because he was talking to God. Isn't it, I don't know, that's not my job to make connections with these things. But isn't it a coincidence, quote unquote, that right afterwards the 2 Argentinian captives come out of captivity? You know what? Hashem yir'eh levav. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could see the heart of the person. The sincerity, the connection, the depth of it, this is something we can't lie about. Because to everyone it doesn't show, but to God it does. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is karov lechol koreav, lechol asher yikauhu be'emet. To those who talk to him with sincerity and depth and emet and truth, HaKadosh Baruch Hu listens. I think this lady was talking to all of us to get better in our connection with Hashem. Shabbat Shalom.